Does anybody else have a plant that they just like intentionally neglect? Because I feel like that's what's happened with this one. She won't stop. She won't stop. She's so needy. Y'all, I'm pretty sure that this plant came to die at my house. And I feel so bad about it. I feel like it's finally time that I do something about it. But this thing has had it rough since day one. And if you're wondering why I'm in the same spot as I was last week, that's because this area in my house has very quickly become my new favorite spot. I think it's because all of the beautiful light that like comes in from these sliding glass doors. I've got like this little plant area like going on here. You can kind of see, ignore that yellow leaf. That is a little shock from shipping and it's normal. So we're focusing on this girl today. You know, I got her on Facebook Marketplace. It was an impulse purchase. It was $15. I was like, I can't pass that up. Like, who wouldn't pass up a $15 big plant like this? Looked a little better than this when I got her, but she still was kind of funky. I haven't had her that long, probably like 6 months, I'd say. So all of this like funky growth that she has here, you can't see it there. Maybe you can see it now. Like that was not with me. What was with me is all of this terrible leaf, like almost like leaf rot is what it looks like. All that has happened with me, and I don't have any explanation for it except for the fact that when I got her, because she is so odd, like I didn't really know where to put her, and in the wintertime like light is very limited, and so I just really didn't prepare properly for her. I stuck her in my foyer for a while, and then I was like, no, I don't like her here. So then I ended up putting her on my fireplace, which is in my living room. Like one whole side of my living room is nothing but sliding glass doors, but in the wintertime, because it's so cold, we keep the curtains closed, so there's no light coming in, except for in the sliding glass door that we use. You know, a little bit of light was coming through there, and I think I thought that it was enough, and it wasn't. I think what happened was that I was kind of over watering her because she wasn't getting enough sun, and like I've done that before many times where a plant I thought was in an okay spot and it ended up getting like root rot or leaf rot because it wasn't getting enough energy from the sun to photosynthesize and to dry up that water. So like, you know, that happens. So I think that's what happened with this plant. I think that that is like a result of overwatering. And lack of, not overwatering, but just lack of sun, because I really haven't even watered this plant that much. When it did start warming up and we were opening the curtains, I kind of stuck her in like back here. But then she's getting like that nice new light from the spring, it's coming in, and I think that that's where like these new leaves up here have come from. And so, I don't know, like, she's not very pretty. I dropped a picture on one of her sides when I was hanging it up and it completely tore off like 2 leaves that were on this side, and then really and truly I probably need to chop back some of this foliage that just looks gross. Does anybody else have a plant that they just like intentionally but unintentionally like neglect? Because I feel like that's what's happened with this one. I just haven't done what I've needed to do for her. And so that's what I'm gonna do today. I feel like her showing up and like giving these nice new leaves is just like a testament to like prove the resilience of plants and like their will to live. Like these guys wanna live so bad. And so I feel like it only is the right thing to do is to just help her. Like she's like proved to me, even though she didn't need to prove to me, like I just suck at life sometimes, but like she's proven to me that she wants to like live and be happy and grow. And so I feel like the right thing to do as a plant parent would be to give her what she needs. And I think what that is going to be today is a fresh new start. And so I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna chop her up. I know, sometimes it's a little scary. But you know, she's very like uneven. She's distorted in size, and then as well as like this whole curvature thing that she's got going on Let me see if I can bring her closer. She's on a little scooting thing, so let me bring her closer to you. Okay, yeah. So, yeah. Again, this was not my doing. She was like this when I got her. She had like these little weird stakes or whatever that were just kind of in there. And a lot of times that's what happens with plants, is if they're not given the proper support system to vine and grow, they're gonna have like this distorted curvature, which is what's happening here, because they just don't have the means to like hold themselves up. And that's also, as you can see here, that's also what happens. They start to get this like very tight internodal spacing. If this was given the proper support system from the beginning, I could easily say, then her growth pattern would be much longer, elongated. Those internodes, the internodal spacing, which is the space in between the nodes where new growth comes from, the leaves come from, it would be a lot longer. And while some people might like the compacted look of this, she would, in a natural, more healthier growth, she would be a lot longer. So just imagine like stretched out. If I continue to let her grow like this, she not only is going to still have this unstable curve here, she's going to have uneven growth. Yeah. So like we're going to have these really small leaves. Again, let me see, but I'm going to just bring her down here. We're going to have these really small leaves right here. And then of course each leaf, if I were to stake her up and give her support now, the leaves from here would continuously grow and mature and be bigger and bigger and bigger. And so she would have that, she would be really big at the bottom like this, and then she would be skinny in the middle and then big at the top. And that's not going to be ideal for her health-wise, and it's not going to be aesthetically pleasing at all. So what I'm going to do today is I think I'm going to chop her up. I'm going to chop off this top piece here, and we're going to try to root that. I'm going to try to find a good space because, again, as you can see, let's see if I can bring that over here with the camera without like knocking stuff over, how tight that internodal spacing is. I mean, that is like, it's going to be an interesting project, that's for sure. But I need to cut that up. She does have some aerial roots here already. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah. So hopefully, just wrapping that up in some moss or even water. I'm not sure which method I'm going to go with right this very second. It's going to be weird. It's going to be odd regrowing that because these things are so long and weird. So that it's going to be odd. I'm not going to lie. It's going to be weird. I do have a greenhouse now. And because normally I would be like, how the hell am I going to like propagate that? Where am I going to put this? This is bizarre and odd shaped, and like it's not going to be the most easy way of propagating, I would think, unless I just did it in water. I could always do that and kind of like make like a little vase. That's a thought. I don't know. I'm not sure right this very second, but we'll find out here in a minute what I do. All right, enough chit chat. Let's do the deed. Okay. Oh my God, is that a fungus gnat in my coffee and I have been drinking it? Cool. I just want to start off by saying, don't be afraid to chop your plants up. If you're struggling with a plant and or things are just not going the way that you think they should, I think it's really important that we remind ourselves that it is okay to like start fresh, to start over. I know I personally struggle with cutting plants really bad sometimes. I really struggle with cutting them up, but sometimes it's for the best. Those fresh starts are important, and I think it's definitely something that we can take in for ourselves and use in our own lives. Sometimes it's just best to like cut off the dead, dying, the ugly, the not so good, so that we can start fresh. And ultimately, that's what I'm doing with this plant today. I am using a really thick, like, pruning scissors. This is a lot thicker than what I normally would use. You can use a knife, like use whatever tool that you have, but because this stem is so thick, I mean, it's a chunk. I definitely wanted to use something that I was going to be able to get a more clean cut, because you definitely don't want a jagged cut. A clean cut's going to give it the best ability to callus over evenly and then prevent any kind of like rotting or anything like that to happen. And then, yeah, so if you don't have anything like this, you can totally use a knife. Just make sure it's sharp and it's clean. I think my biggest hesitation is like figuring out how I'm going to propagate these, like where I'm going to put them, what I'm going to do with them, because these are some really awkward leaves. Like, I don't even know what ID this philodendron is. I do know it's a philodendron. I can't decide if it's like a Prince of Orange. I don't think it's a Prince of Orange. I don't know what it is. If you have any idea, please let me know in the comments, because I have not been able to ID this. The girl that I got it from, she did not know what kind it was. I'm trying to refrain from using the words ugly, but right now we are just not in a really great state, and so it's hard for me to identify it. Yeah, so if you know, let me know. I would love to know. Maybe I'll find out when we get the new growth too, if nobody else knows what this is. Like when those new things come up, it'll be easier to identify. All right, so let's do it. So I think what I'm gonna do, again, you can see like how, I don't know if you can see that. I feel like I need to bring you closer. How tight that internodal spacing is. And I'm just not gonna worry about trying to get like as many pieces as I can, you know, which is normally ideal when you're propagating a plant. You wanna try to get like as many plants out of the plant that you can get. But like, again, I feel like this is could be an uncommon situation. And so we just kind of have to do what we can do with it. I need to try to get a good spacing here so that I have a good place to like grow roots. And so I'm probably gonna end up losing these two leaves. And I really need to try to get a good space in here so that when I go to plant this new one, I actually have, you know, something to work with. Okay. Oh, I hope that I can get this in one chop, honestly. Like that. Here we go. Making sure I'm in the right spot. I might preserve that aerial root for that leaf that's below it. Okay, hopefully this is good. Oh my God, we did it. We did it. There it is. I'm just gonna keep chopping, and then I'll show you what I end up having at the end, and then we'll figure out how I'm gonna prop all these guys. It's actually a lot easier than I thought it was gonna be. I thought it was gonna be like this big, like cutting through a piece of log or something like that. I think that what's helping is these scissors. There we go. So we have that one. Yeah, like that leaf, honestly, I don't even know. Oh my God, look at that, like that. How is that thing still even, how's that thing even alive? I don't know that we'll probably end up losing that leaf. So when you're cutting these, and I forgot to mention that you want to pay attention to like where the new growth point would come from, which is normally somewhere around, see if you guys can see that, if it'll focus. It's normally around the leaf. So like right there is that growth point. So you want to make sure when you're cutting that you don't cut into that too. Like you want to have your node. Having aerial roots is definitely ideal. That's going to give you like the most chance of having a successful propagation. I may have to use two hands for this one because three chunks. I think I'm gonna put these in a prop box is what I'm gonna do with these guys. So this is what I'm left with. These guys, and then this one. And now we are left with this. Pretty though, look how nice that looks. Like, I might do this in moss. I do like moss. And basically what I'm gonna have to do is let these callus over. These are pretty thick, so it's probably gonna take a few hours. So I'm gonna let that happen, and then we will be back. Now that these guys have had some time to callus over, we can pot them up. We can put them wherever we want them. I'm gonna do moss for this top piece. First, I'm gonna put a little bit of moss down into my little cup here, and then I'm just gonna lightly kind of wrap it around the node here. I'm not packing in there tight, just kind of lightly stick it in there. And then that's it. It's good to go. Just wanna make sure that there's a little bit of air in there that's not too compacted, because again, you can cause the cutting to rot if it is. I'm gonna try these guys out in water and see how it goes. I picked a really tall vessel. I'm gonna just stick these guys down in here. We'll see how it goes. If I notice that it's not progressing like I would like for it to, I may just switch these guys to moss. But yeah, this will be a little nice, little cute centerpiece. I can kind of I can like enjoy it like a little centerpiece. I don't know if you guys can see that. But yeah, I'll just kind of set that on my table in my dining room and maybe watch it root. These guys here, these chunks, I think I'm just gonna throw these in my prop box. I like these because very much set it and forget it, and then the next thing you know, you got like growth over here. It's really cool. So yep. I hope that this inspires you to chop up your own plants. Only if they need it. And I guess even if they don't, because honestly, it's quite exhilarating. Yeah, thank you all so much for watching. I will see you all in the next video. Don't forget to give yourself some love this week. And of course, buy yourself a plant. I'll see you in the next video. Bye. It's like I can fly. Like a bird. Ah. Or like an Egyptian goddess. Okay, I need to stop. All right, let's go put you guys away.